Yeah. Hello everyone, good evening. We are back to our second technical track session of the day. So we have the next topic, which is evolving digital frauds. So in this conference, we have tried to differentiate between cyber frauds and digital frauds. And we are trying to cover what type of controls auditor can implement in digital frauds and what type of role auditor can play in a cyber fraud. And we have a very, very experienced person in both digital and cyber fraud. So invariably, since in the industry these two terms are interchangeably used, there will be some overlap which we can deliberate during the session. So we have with us Mr. V.Rajendran, founder, chairman and managing trustee of Digital Security Associations of India. He is a certified cyber forensic examiner from IDBRT and CEISB from Indian Institute of Banking and Finance. He is a CISP from STQC, Government of India, a diploma holder in IT law and a lead auditor in ISO 9001 and ISMS 27001. He worked for over 3 decades in public sector bank IOB, including 15 years in the IT department in various capacities, and resigned as chief manager systems in 2008. Ever since practicing as an advocate mainly handling cyber law cases and as a consultant on IT security and ISMS related areas, he has authored the book on IT security for bankers in 2012 and prevention of cybercrime and fraud management in 2016 on behalf of Indian Institute of Banking and Finance, Mumbai. The latest revised reprint of 2025 edition includes content on recent trends in cybercrimes and development in related laws like QR-based payments, cryptocurrencies, etc. He has published articles in various journals and appeared in print and electronic media on many occasions. He is a guest faculty and invited speakers on topics like cyber crimes, banking law, banking frauds, digital security and privacy in various industry bodies, universities, staff training colleges of police academies and various banks. He is a past president of Cyber Security of India and currently the chairman of Digital Security Association of India, an NGO engaged in creating awareness on safe and secure use of computers, network and digital space. So without further delay, I hand over the session to Rajendran sir.
Thank you, Madam Deepika, for a very generous introduction. I never thought my introduction would be so big. I thought it to serve well. It's a profile to make you understand what I am or perhaps what I am not. Thanks for such a big introduction. Now, thank you, friends, for the opportunity. It's nice to be here. So it's quite nice to be here to spend almost an hour, madam. 1 hour. Okay. Towards the end of the evening, as all of us will be doing our UOD day end process. So let me come here to do a day end process of our audit deliberations on something on emerging frauds, emerging crimes. Before that, let us just try to spend just about 1 minute. What exactly are your expectations from me? What exactly you expect from me, you tell me. I mean, sir, I would like you to focus on these. Just spend about half an hour and go. That kind of is okay. If you have any specific expectations, you can tell me. This is what we thought that you will focus, or this is what I request you to, I urge you to focus. Any specific thing? Examples, huh? Case studies. Okay, good. Okay. This is quite interesting, in fact. As a past bank official, and I represented the Bank Officers Association sometimes to protect them from disciplinary action. The bank officers know they have to protect them first, protect themselves from the bank, protect themselves from the police, protect them from the customers, and if possible, protect the bank also. I mean, since I am from a bank, I can take more examples from the bank, and not that. Okay. So something other we'll be discussing with whatever about 45 to 50 minutes at time. We'll try to make this session quite interactive as possible. Okay. As you know, Madam gave me a very interesting topic like emerging frauds. Actually, frauds have been emerging. frauds and crimes have been emerging right from the days of Ramayana and Mahabharata also. On the days of even when Rama was there was the Ravana also. When Dharmarajan was there, then actually Shakuni also was there. Everybody was there. So, fraud and crime have always coexisted with the human being. It is as old as humanity or human being, I would say. And especially in psychology, so they have a fancy for studying fraud from that angle. They say fraud triangle, they say. Fraud triangle, now we have three aspects of a triangle which makes a fraud complete. These are the three ingredients of a fraud, they say. Namely, motive. In Tamil we say mannase, pennase, ponnase. Correct. The need for the money, need for men, need for women, money or wealth or ground, land, something. Manna, asai, need or greed. Second is opportunity. Every victim, every fraud, every crime, the victim always gives a small amount of opportunity. Some carelessness, some negligence. The third is rationalization, isn't it? Every criminal rationalizes his criminal activity. This also happened right from days earlier, isn't it? But Talabili Rajni irundarna Kamal Nayakan irundadilende today's picture Vijay Varisuva, whatever. So whatever is when the hero takes a gun, it is justified. When the villain takes a gun, it's not justified. Because we always rationalize. The gun in the hands of either of the party is always a crime. But the criminal always justifies why he is doing it. So in a study of emerging fraud, especially for a group of auditors and a cyber crime kind of scenario, we will be focusing only on one of these three, not all the opportunity. Naturally, Ilya. Rationalization is psychological, it always exists. The first thing is need that existed, that he is to exist. Crime always will happen. So it's not, the police in this area, crime we won't be able to do anything. Do you feel that the society can be corrected? Society is incorrigible, sir. Man will always commit crime. There is no police. Of course, many police nowadays, they take that stand. That's a different thing. So I'll come to it later. It is not for the police or the information system auditors or the internal audit department to say that crimes do happen. What is it we can do? No. We are not here to talk philosophy or study philosophy. We are here to check the opportunities and controls from two perspectives: the adequacy of controls, efficiency of the existing controls. In many cases, controls may not be even adequate. Some cases, control could be there, but it may not be effective, efficient. Actually, one of the earliest cases of computation in our bank, when an auditor was visiting a server room, very early days, about 25, 30 years back. Server room, evening, what happened? People were eating bonda, bhaji, something like this. Nice. Normally, server room, we used to be so strict, sacrosanct, that we don't even wear shoes going inside. Isn't it? Even wear shoes, sometimes we do it. And tea, coffee, strictly taboo, and vada boda is absolutely taboo. So the auditors pointed out. The branch manager told the people, one clerical staff member, very staunch trade unionist, he said, sir, I do understand. But quote me a circular which says you should not eat bonda, bhaji inside the server room during office hours. So the manager was running from here and there, looking all the early circulars. See, it is common knowledge that we should not do it. But there was no official guideline circular from the bank telling that this should not be done. So it is not the effectiveness as control, it is the adequacy of the control itself. Control itself is not adequate. And the union person, association person was smart enough to pinpoint that, isn't it? So we'll be focusing on opportunities from these angles, isn't it? Not that I'm taking only example from banking. So most of us, almost all of you are involved in auditing. Auditing a bank and financial institution forms your crux of your work area. I'm taking examples from it. Okay. Now, this is how today's banking is. This is not the banking about 35, 40 years back, isn't it? Earlier, banks used to be physically, the moment you said branch, immediately the customers used to Think about the branch manager, or a young clerical staff, or a cashier, or perhaps even a peon running one corner to another corner with a big ledger, watches and all that. Now those days are gone, isn't it? In fact, when I was a branch manager about 40 years back, when I used to stand in a rural place called T. Kallupatti in Madurai, I do not know how many of you have heard about that place. Madurai, T. Kallupatti. I was a branch. Enga endha puru? Vatraba. Vatraba considered one of the fertile regions of the district. Very good. Vatraba, about 5 kilometers this way is T. Kallupatti. The bus stand, everybody used to look at me. I used to feel a bit odd. And the driver invariably stops. He'll stop for a few seconds. Sir, varingla Madurai ke appadinu. That used to be the personal connect that the branch officials had with the customers. Now, you talk to any of your younger brother, younger sister, you ask him or her, do you know your branch manager? You ask the moment you say branch or management or something, what is the picture which comes to his or his mind? What is the picture? The branch manager name or image does not come to his mind. What comes to his mind is some electronic device, isn't it? Some mobile or internet banking, ATM, some electronic device which is not a physical human being. That is the strength, or I can say weakness, which leads to today's discussion. All things are connected like this. Only two things are not connected. What are the two things not connected now? One is the cash. Cash does not go through. Cash does not go through the mobile. Cash does not go through a cloud. Okay. What is the second one not connected? There is no connectivity for that picture. Picture on the top right. The top right, one picture, one funny picture I have introduced there. I given a funny picture at the top right. What is it I am trying to convey there? Yeah, some attack, malware, malicious software, something which is not officially connected, but which is trying to establish connectivity. That is what exactly is emergence of digital frauds. That is what we are going to focus about now. This is not officially connected. We have an ATM, a POS device, a laptop, a tab, or ATM, or laptop thing, bank server, cloud. And poor gentleman with a tie and full suit gentleman trying to handle all these electronic devices along with the human HR, everything represented by one gentleman there. Okay. So that is today's banking. Perhaps a day would come when perhaps I want to start a bank with, what's your name? Lemur Karapiting. Sundaram. Okay. Perhaps Sundaram and Rajendran, you want to start a bank. Aramiklama? Okay. So I say Sundaram Raj Bank Limited. We say that we don't want to have a registered office. Registered office is venda. Sundaram Raj bank.bank.in. Now .bank than solraga. .co.in kadayadilla. .bank. So we'll have a URL registered. We'll outsource our SB opening. All ATMs transactions outsourced. Audit outsourced. Internal audit outsourced. Though internal, outsourced. Okay. So we can outsource every activity. We will tell people that there is no physical building at all. We won't give any physical address. Is it permitted? See, the full address is there anyway. That's bank.in, bank.co.in, bank.org, everything is there. Is it permitted? Can I register a bank like that? As per today's Indian legal requirement. Why? Bank should have a web address. URL address is there. Enna sir panna mudiyadha? Can't you do it? Because in India, till date, fortunately, physical address registration as per the Companies Act is essential. And the Companies Act, every bank should be a registered company engaged in the banking activity as per the Companies Act. And you should have a list of promoters, their physical address, Aadhaar, PAN, blah, 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 everything. There are some countries in the West, some European countries, some parts of China, wherein physical address is not necessary at all. URL address it's alone will do. Now think of this situation. If a customer gets upset, wants to come and shout, come and shout at the nearest Airtel office or nearest bank office something. Office kadayadu, where will you go and shout? dial 1 for English, 2 के लिए हिंदी दबाइए, तमिल केटपदற்கு 3 अमुकोन. By the time he does Hindi, English, Tamil and all that, 2-3 minutes would go. And at those days we used to say that even if you do not redress a customer's grievance, you offer him a cup of tea or coffee or cool drink, make him sit for about 10 minutes. ஏதோ மேனேஜர் ட்ரை பண்ணுறாருப்பா, நோ ஃபால்ட் ஆன் இஸ் பார்ட். ஹீ வில் கோ வித் த சென்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஹாப்பினஸ் தட் தெர் இஸ் சம்படி டு லிசன் டு ஹிம். We have moved away from that days now, isn't it? We have moved away. We say we are all digitally connected, but physically disconnected. That's what happens exactly. Suppose I'm living in a 5th or 6th floor of a flat, a gated community, about 20-30 chapels are there in the adjacent flat. Some function in that flat, I think. This is the maximum thing we will talk to our neighbors, right? But same time, I'll be talking about what's happening in Mexico or in San Jose or Washington or Dallas, Texas or perhaps London or Sutton, wherein my cousin, nephew or grandson, whoever is there, 7,000, 6,000 kilometers away. Digitally connected, physically disconnected. That is how today's banking has come to. So in this scenario, where exactly are the crimes? As auditor, what are you going to do? Previously, when an auditor enters public sector undertaking, whether it's a state government undertaking or a central government undertaking or a bank or whatever, heaps and heaps of registers used to be there, right? First, a A4 sheet, a staple. Normally, we ask those things, or stapler, or working space, all this. Nowadays, we don't ask for any such thing. No A4 sheet, nothing. Give me a computer, give me an access. Auditor access, that too. The system people would have cleverly designed in a yes, Gus did right. Thank you for saving me from the embarrassment of what the system people would have done. Because I had been in the system department. Unfortunately, I've been in the system department, I've done auditing, I've addressed the police officials, I've done this side, that side, every side also. So in fact, I'm I'm nowhere, I can say. So the audit login would have been designed in such a way that you will be able to look at only those things which the system people want you to look. Not that what you want to look. Got it? Got the point? So, that is the stage we have now come. Yeah. And we say that India is emerging as an IT superpower, blah, 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 and all that is there. Earlier, the Negotiable Instruments Act, this Indian Penal Code, these things were the basis on which the entire banking industry and the transactions, everything was built. Contract Act speaks a lot of things about consent, mutual consent, and offer, acceptance. Offer plus acceptance equal to consent, then agreement plus consideration makes it contract and all that. Electronically, when there is a 7-8 pages of mobile scrolling, you put just I agree. You go to the last tab there, just you put one small button, within that font 5, 6 or even 4 or even 3 font also could be there. When you decide that you want a particular app, what do? Do you read? First thing is that we decide whether I want that app or not. When you decide you want that app, immediately you go to the last page, put. That's all. I agree. I agree my contact can be opened anytime. I agree you can come to my room, you can come to my bedroom, you can come to my kitchen anytime, you can take the photo, whatever you want. I'm giving you a key. Everything I agree. So what is going to be the future of Contract Act, Negotiable Instrument Act? Where is the negotiable instrument now? How many transactions are being done with checks now? In fact, Reserve Bank of India itself come out with an interesting phrase called disincentivization of checks. How many of you read that circular? Read that phrase? RBI has a fancy for using such interesting phrases. Disincentivization of check. Check use discourage பண்றோம். Why? Encourage the use of digital payment. Sometimes RBI slightly goes overboard also. Sometimes, mostly சொல்லுவாங்க சில பேர். I'm not going into that controversy. But one thing about RBI in India is that RBI is not only a regulator, it also does the dual role of enabler of digital technology plus a regulator. It has to regulate. In many countries, whether it's a federal or a Bank of India or a monitoring authority in Singapore or whatever, the regulatory aspect is something specific. They don't sit with the finance ministry and discuss how to encourage. But RBI does both now. RBI has to encourage digital payments. We take pride in telling that 49.3%, roughly 50%, I think, by the world global online payments are from India. We also take pride in telling that NPCI, a Section 8, Section 25 company wholly owned by RBI, non-profit undertaking, it handles roughly 50% of the global payment here. We take pride in telling that. So RBI wants to enjoy this pride, right, and justifiably so. Wants to take this pride, take this, enjoy it, and motivate, and at the same time regulate also. So these are today's scenarios there. So in the case of electronic, previously we had only physical delivery channel. We went to the bank and did. Nowadays, electronic delivery channel, like ATMs, internet banking, POS, tab and all that. These are all the challenges. I don't want to read out everything. You must be able to understand what exactly the meaning of everything here. One thing is peer competition, psychological, emotional. Even as part of the audit, when you go to typically any public sector bank, an officer crossed 50, entering into retirement age. Enter retirement age past 50, 50 or something. Not so tech savvy, slightly anathema to technology. Not very particular, not going keen into what the technology means, what the screen means. On one hand, he has to take care of the bank. On the other side, in the same branch, a young qualified people, 22, 23, 25 years of age, joining as officers, extremely tech savvy, knowing much about right from Oracle to Sybase to MySQL Server front-end application, how to do a back-end access of the data without any front-end app, which continues to be one of the biggest threat for an auditor, isn't it? As auditors, you have come across any instance of back-end access in Oracle? I mean, since that phrase has come, so I am tempted to discuss that. Any organization undertaking, including a bank, which permits a back-end access to data. I mean, are you sure that what you mean by back-end access? Therila, do you want me to explain that aspect, back-end access of a data? Yes or no? Tell me, yes or no, something. Huh? Go ahead. Go ahead and explain me what is back-end access. Okay. What is an app basically? App. Exactly. Beautiful. App is the front end. App means an application. A front end screen, an application which enables you to access a data which is there at the back end. Going back to the picture which I showed you, the data at the back end is connected through a remote, through a cloud connectivity. Your ATM, mobile banking, CBS branch itself, POS, everything is an app. Everything is an app only. Of course, in a mobile we have 40, 50 apps, right from your Swiggy, Zomato, your Uber, Ola, everything is an app. But the data is kept somewhere. So through this app only you access the data. Suppose somebody has a username and password. Without this app, he can put a transaction in the database. Exactly. In audit circles, in information security circles, what is that called? One particular word is there. Super user. Actually, we say, super user should ensure that he does not violate this quality of CIA triad. What is that? What is CIA triad? Confidentiality, integrity, availability. All of you know thoroughly. Okay. So, by accessing a database, confidentiality, integrity, availability, CIA triad. I think I'm coming to that somewhere later, I think. Which aspect of the CIA triad are we breaching? Integrity, right? Integrity. What is the meaning of integrity? Integrity exactly means non-tamperable quality of the data. The word integrity has just one meaning, straight away, straightforward, nothing more, nothing less. Non-tamperable quality of the data means data should not be altered at all, except, what is that except, you tell me now? By the owner through an app. Except through an authorized process of the software. Authorized process of the software means what? Any app. So data should not be tampered, data should not be accessible otherwise than through an app like a CBS app or a Swiggy app or a Zomato app, something. See, about 2 years back there was a, 2 years, 1.5 years, Zomato, a huge database, about 15 lakhs of Zomato records have been sold, somebody has purchased. I was just wondering, Zomato record வாங்கி என்ன பண்ண போறாங்க? அது என்ன போறது, எல்லாம் 3 பிரியாணி ஆர்டர் பண்ணா 4 வடை ஆர்டர் பண்ணனும் ரெக்கார்ட் இருக்கு போறது. Is it only that? Exactly, think deeper. That is not that. That is not exactly your order for a vada or biryani veg and all. There is much, much, much more to it. Your pattern. Your pattern. At which time of the day, from which place of the city, orders for order for biryani comes. At which times of the day, which time of the city, which place, which kind of segment, particularly youth or the old people. What is the kind of order? Wonderful data profiling. Big data analysis. Now, it has come in a very big manner. Machine learning, big data analysis, then AI. Step by step. There is a step by step it has come. So this kind of data analysis, the data integrity has a very crucial role to play. Data should never be accessed otherwise through an app. If the gentleman did not have any access through the back end, this would not have happened. Actually, one of the occasions about 3 years back, Aadhaar data. There was a public outcry that Aadhaar data is available at the rate of 500 rupees per row. Rombo cheap. And even cheap of Upan. It so happened, and there was a TV debate. I was one of the panelists there. That's the question. See, in technology, you can never say panna mudiyadu. Yes or no? Because about 30 years back, we never thought this would be possible. About 30 years back, if I want to put my photo by the side of this gentleman, both of us, jolly post it would have taken about half an hour or about 1 hour, putting the image in a Photoshop and matching the color, isn't it? Photoshop was a utility. Many tech-savvy guys used to do it. Now, AI does it in a matter of 10 seconds. About 2-3 weeks back, when I was addressing a seminar, just for the sake of fun, which I should not do it, in fact, for sake of fun, I thought L.K. Advani giving me a memento in Madras Marina Beach. அப்படியே கொடுக்கிறது ஏஐ எனக்கு. நான் எப்போ பீச் போனேன், எல்கே அத்வானி எப்போ பீச்சுக்கு வந்தாரு தெரியாது. Isn't it? With AI, everything is possible. But AI is very clever, very smart. It also says, for living persons, giving such is highly unethical. I will not do it. இதெல்லாம் பண்ணக்கூடாது, ரொம்ப தெரிஞ்சவன் உனக்கு பண்ணுறேன் உனக்கா. Is what it means. Because the AI also has been designed, programmed by our own people. Isn't it? Well, programming or designing, we ensure that what are all the questions will come. எப்படி ஆன்சர் பண்ணுறது? We only give it. So that's how it goes. So, okay. This is the countermeasures to combat security. We know all these very basic. Never give your card, never share your PIN, never share your OTP, never click any link. In the case of internet banking, look for HTTPS. All of you know it. I don't know how to go very basic in explaining those things. HTTPS, you go and look for the lock symbol there. And when you click the lock symbol, it will open a small box. In the small box, what does the box say? What is the lock symbol or a to-and-fro symbol? When you click that symbol with your mouse, it opens a small window, small box it comes. What does that box say? A CAPTCHA, a site certification. Security. Secure site certification. It says that this site is a secure site. Because earlier, when physical bank used to be there, or bank building used to be there, or gentleman with a very reasonably, looking like an educated man, somebody would be there. Without, we'll think that he is a manager, he is a clerk and all that. Now looking at the screen, we won't even know whether it's a genuine screen or the bank itself. Because after technology came, we always used to say, கண்ணால் காண்பதும் போய், காதால் கேட்பதும் போய், கம்ப்யூட்டரில் பார்ப்பது முற்றிலும் போய். We go on that basis only. In fact, one of the last slides, one of the favorite phrases used by auditors is zero trust. Zero trust கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கீங்களா? I think auditor உங்க இதில் கூட சீசால கூட இருக்குது. Zero trust. We always go with the principle zero trust. But Indians by nature 100% trust. So, certain aspect of, when I come to data privacy, I'll be touching upon that. Privacy is a very interesting concept in India. When you take a daytime train in India, of course, people are glued to their mobile. Or 5-6 years back, we used to chat so much that at the end of the train journey, after 5-6 hours, he would have known so much about my family. I would have known so much about his family. Do you have a son, daughter of marriageable age? I belong to that community. I belong to this place. To that level, you would have spoken. Because India by nature is a talking society. Whereas abroad, when you travel abroad for a full 5-6 hours, maximum your co-passenger will tell you, will be a shrug, one excuse, one sorry, nothing more than that. And when you offer food to your co-passengers, he'll look at you with suspicion. We never offer food. We never touch the child of a stranger in a lift abroad. I mean, most of you would have gone abroad, you would have seen it. இங்கெல்லாம் லிஃப்ட் ரொம்ப சகஜமாக கொஞ்சம் குழந்தைங்களை நம்ம we carry the child. Belief. Mostly India goes by that. The zero trust does not apply to India. Zero trust concept has been designed only for abroad. Don't believe your neighbor, don't believe technology, don't believe human being. In fact, in the temple, Anna Prasada, most of the temple they gave, if you give the benchmark of infection and all that, no prasadam will pass that. Isn't it? But we take it with a divine hope, belief, prayer that it is God's prasadam to me. You don't give strangers food in any foreign country. That is how Indian audit standards, security concerns. So in today, the emerging threats are like this. I've got tailgating, all these words I think you know. If you have any specific reference to any particular word that you want that to be clarified. I can spend a few minutes on it. Systemic vulnerabilities, user level ignorance, adventurism. Okay, tailgating, isn't it? Tailgating. Tailgating is a very simple word. Tailgating, masquerading. For an auditor, it's a very important thing. Tailgating and masquerading, like too many people logging into the same session with the same name. Tailgating is somebody, something like a door opening after access card. Before the door closes, somebody else enters. So in a technology, how do you relate it to a technology? Somebody is putting a transaction. He just attended to his perhaps wife's phone call. So in that process, so he'll naturally be concentrating on that. Naturally, everybody has to be, at least pretend to be, right. So in that few seconds, what happens? Somebody comes and puts another transaction there. Exactly tailgating. So these things are all very popular. So the auditors, to check tailgating, what is the control you will tell the program people? Tailgating, check what is the control you say. You can ask one question. Do you have this control? What is that? Okay, biometric. Okay, biometric, very good. Okay, that's also. In fact, I did not think. I'm thinking on some other lines. Tailgating, somebody is already doing a transaction. In the gap, somebody comes and puts it. After a few seconds, or somebody is concentrating on a phone call, taking tea for a few minutes. At that time, somebody comes. Time out, exactly. Tailgating, typically time out. So every session, every tech-savvy undertaking has a timeout built in as a part of its control. The timeout could be dependent upon the criticality of the session, criticality of the software, and the requirement. Maybe 30 seconds, or 1 minute, 2 minutes, or even 5 minutes. Okay? So that's how it goes. Insider threats. This has become a very major concern. About 14 years back, I was reading about it. Only in most of the US-based books. US, everybody used to talk about disgruntled elements, insider threats and all that. Nowadays, India, it was not there. Now, in the past 15 years, 10 years, I would say, this is a major threat. Because of the extreme high amount of employee attrition. Somebody joins a company, after 6 months, he says, Sir, I Airtel, Vodafone, he'll be doing the same thing anyway. After leaving Vodafone, he'll be joining some other telecom company. He'll be attending to the same area. So, the moment somebody decides to quit, what are the steps the organization takes? And where will you check these things as auditor? What are the policy you will insist? What are the control areas you will check? What are the areas you will verify? Huh? Huh? Revoke? Revoke access at what point? Exactly. Revoke access depending upon how, under what circumstances he is quitting. There have been occasions in very major corporates, in fact I can even name the corporate, no problem. Something was reported and the boss, the team head or the project head, he called him to the cabin. So this has been reported, no sir, the argument was going on for about 10-15 minutes. He said, no, it is confirmed that you only have sent this mail. It is a 100% data breach. Then, by the time the person left the project manager's room, his access was locked. He was not able to go to his seat and log in. He was able to go back to his seat and pick only his lunchbox, nothing more. But typically, in many public sector undertakings, many government undertakings, I have seen, if you are auditing any government department, insist on this. That is the place most vulnerable. A person decides to quit, or given his letter of resignation, that period is highly crucial. That is the time when the boss has to keep an eye on him, or the system has to keep an eye on him, or the user level, what are the mail he is receiving or sending, those things have to be properly in place. Typically in a public sector or a government department, when the process takes a longer time, சார் இப்போ தான் லெட்டர் போயிருக்கு சார் பாஸுக்கு, அது அங்கே போகும் ஒரு வாரம், அக்செப்ட் ஆகிறதுக்கு 10 நாள் ஆகுனாக்கா, this 10 days will do enough for him to ruin the company. I mean, if he is leaving the company as a disgruntled element, not as a normal retirement or superannuation, anything. So from an audit point of view, I am focusing all these things, okay. Now, these are the major areas of controls. Of course, control, all of you know. Control means, how do you define a control? Basic, how do you define a control? Control means a check. A check which is in place by the management. Management puts some action. So it could be an internal control, external control, or a software control, or an app control. Like, see, in some cases, the program would have been designed in such a way that about 7 or 8 lines in an application you fill out. The column 5 is for mobile number. Instead of giving 10 digits, you are entering only 8 digits or 9 digits. You go to the 6th digit, 7th digit and all that. After you enter the 8th digit, when you put submit, the screen says the data entered by you in digit 5 is wrong. The entire screen goes blank. Then you are entering, forced to enter all the detail, including the column 5, in which you are supposed to enter 10 digits. You have entered only 8. What kind of a control was that? What kind of control should be better in this place? That is why I tell you, as an auditor, you have to insist, whether it's a front-end control, app control, or back-end control. To decide that the mobile should have 10 digits, the data need not travel from your front-end app to a server. Server need not check that the 5th digit should be 10 digits and then go on server. No. When the data goes to the 6th column, the previous column itself would have been checked. That is the front end. The number need not be checked. Do you understand the difference? The number need not be checked. The front end app would not be able to check whether the 10-digit number given, mobile number given by you is right or wrong. But the front end app can check basically whether it's a 10 numerals. So that is why in many cases, to save network traffic, a front end control would have been sufficient. So the system has to decide whether you need a front end control or a back end control or a hardware control or a physical control and all that. The other major thing is social networking side. Most of the companies today are plagued with this. A same system being used for intranet as well as internet. The employees would be seeing his WhatsApp or sharing information in a social networking site with the same mobile. or the same laptop, he will be accessing the company's data also. He will be sharing the personal information. If by chance he enters, or if any session hijacking is there, or Windows transposition is there, some such thing there, not only the employee but the company's data also would be compromised. So always we used to say, why share personal information in a website like this? In fact, one of the interesting case studies I can share, since it's an elite audience, about 5-6 years back, WhatsApp was not, WhatsApp was there in the initial stage, I would say 7-8 years back. Myself and a friend of mine, we went to a ladies' college somewhere near Tirupattur, Amburinga. It was a one-day program. I was to deliver the inaugural address there along with the friend. The local SP also had come. The lady faculty, she was interacting with us for about 5-6 times over phone. What time you will come, sir? What are the number of sessions you will handle? Those things. We have never seen. She also has not seen. Okay. I went there with another colleague of mine who is extremely tech-savvy, who was helping the police in many cybercrime investigation cases. Both of us went there. The moment that lady faculty, young lady, maybe less than 30, she came and opened the door, she invited us. My friend asked me, your sister marriage went on very well, madam. We heard it was a very well-attended marriage. The lady was shocked. How do you know that? Then immediately I said, actually your marriage should have been conducted earlier, madam, because of that Nakshatram, Gotram, since you don't belong to that particular thing, I think because of horoscope thing, it got delayed. I said. She was again confused. How do you know? Like, உங்கள் அப்பாவோட ஆஃபீஸில் ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம் ஆச்சு, சால்வ் ஆயிடுச்சு இல்லை அது, இப்போ வேலைக்கு வந்துட்டார் போல இருக்கேன் அப்படின்னாரு என் ஃப்ரெண்டு திருப்பியும். So by the time the lady took us to the conference hall and offered tea, for the conference to start, in about 10 minutes, 7 or 8 questions, both of us, particularly my friend, asked her, which completely flabbergasting for the lady. எப்படி சார் நாங்கள் இல்லை அவர் ஃபேஸ் ரீடிங்லாம் பண்ணுவார் இவர். He does face reading, he is very strong in astrology அப்படின்னு. The lady was so naive enough that she said after the tea break, sir, what is the consultation fee? If you want, I can pay something. There are a lot of problems in my house, whether you'll be able to do it. அப்போ நான் வேணாம் விட்டுடுப்பா அப்படின்னு சும்மா வெறுப்பேற்றாத பாவம் அந்த பொண்ணு அப்படின்னு. We took all the data only from social networking sites, from nowhere. ஒன்றுமே இல்லை. Just visit to LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, mail, corporate mail உள்ள ஃபோட்டோஸு அவ்வளவே தான். Just spend about 1 hour. Everything is there. We are all absolutely standing stark naked in a digitally connected society. Isn't it? So in this scenario, digital fraud வராதுன்னா ஏன் வராது? Fraud has to come. It is up to us to be preventive. So it doesn't mean that I will not enter technology, I won't do any mobile banking, I will personally go to the bank and do favor, I will not even take my vehicle, I will go by walk. No, we have traveled so much. After coming about 40-50 years, there is no point in talking about, oh, good old days, it used to be so lovely, customers used to come to the branch, I used to offer them tea. Who will listen to those stories now? Isn't it? Nowadays we don't even talk in hours, we talk in seconds, not even minutes, isn't it? 35 seconds, 40 seconds. We have come to that stage now. Share market, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency யாரா போடுறீங்களா? அதெல்லாம் ஓப்பனாக கேட்கக்கூடாது. தெர் இஸ் அ ஸ்லைட் அப்போ வரும்போது கேட்கணும். அதை கிரிப்டோ கரன்சி போட்டு ஹார்ட் இதானா ஃபியூ செகண்ட்ஸ் பாருங்க பக்குன்னு போய்டும் நமக்கு. அவ்வளோ ஹெவியாக தி வேல்யூ கோஸ். ஸோ இன் தி செக்ஸ் அண்ட் கண்ட்ரோல்ஸ் இன் டிஜிட்டல் ஃப்ராட்ஸ், all these things are there. Competition, corporate mismanagement, peer level pressure. It's a very, very major thing, peer level pressure. Now, we come to AI. AI and digital frauds in various sectors, not just banking, in many other sectors. Since you will be auditing not only banking, many other sectors like telecom sector, e-commerce sector, e-commerce and retail scams, healthcare sector. The healthcare sector is a very highly vulnerable. See, in US at least we have SAS-70 and HIPAA. HIPAA guidance all of you must be knowing, no? We were recently heard about it. In India we don't have any HIPAA. இப்போவும் கிடையாது, எப்போவும் கிடையாது. We don't have HIPAA, SAS-70 ஒன்றும் கிடையாது. And health records, unfortunately, in India are not so sacrosanct, so private like in the US. In the US, if you are admitted, in fact, privacy itself is so sacrosanct, such a high pedestal, lofty ideal in US, that it is not so in India. One of the cases in the US, which I think San Jose court, a husband filed a case against a wife. Just listen, husband filed a case against a wife. The only, seeking divorce. The only reason he gave is that daily when I return from my office, my wife is looking at my mobile and verifying my call log for the day. She is infringing into my privacy. Isn't it? Naturally, she is infringing into my privacy. And the judge gave the divorce order immediately in a matter of few days. Actually, when I was telling this joke while addressing a police academy, or official said, sir, in the case, all police car police car everybody. Because in India it is quite common for a wife to attend to husband's phone call. Otherwise, then there is a minor skirmishes, misunderstanding. Normal days. Even today morning there was a phone call. I was there. My wife who took the call. She said, okay, at 4:30 he'll come. Normally we share it, isn't it? Typically for an Indian circumstances, their kind of privacy is not there. In India, if somebody is admitted in a hospital, the entire flat knows about it. Or flat jaundice, even the other 2-3 people adjacent, even neighbor, they won't jaundice we will not do any such thing. That's how normally we do it, no. But in US, when you are admitted in a hospital, even the wife cannot ask the doctor what is the disease. Unless the husband gives a letter stating that my illness data can be shared with the following people. Even that is part of a contract. But even the shopkeeper ke theriyum. Edhukku anga poni inga ponga pakkathula irukkaru advice kuduparu. Ayurveda ponga, Siddha ponga. Pakkathula irukkaru avaru or idea kuduparu. See, our illness is so open, so free in India. Under these circumstances, fraud will certainly be there. Social networking sites, fraud, e-commerce, healthcare, this way, real estate. Real estate, government has come up with a brilliant idea. No? I do not know how successful the idea is to come. How many of you have heard about it? I don't know. Unit linked ULEP modernization program. Just like every human being is being given an Aadhaar number, every piece of land is being identified with a number. So, in Binami land purchase it's a long-term, it's a lofty ideal. It may take about few years, maybe 7-8 years ago. But every piece of land is going to be identified with a number. When that comes, register in the patta over here, coast patta, sir, the coast over there, the government, the grammar, these kind of words may not hold good. Especially, okay, why should I talk those things? So, mule account, all of us pretty well know about it, right? Mule account, very common. Everybody speaks about it. In fact, mule account, recent, even RB itself has come out, now, about 2 weeks, about 10 days back. RB came out with a very interesting circular, one of the speeches I could get it. It's called mulehunter.ai, developed by AI. Mule Hunter, what is the mule account likelihood of this account being a mule? Likelihood. At the outset, we cannot say whether it's a mule account or not. Of course, mule account theory, do you want me to? I've been talking about it. Suddenly there is a dullness in the auditorium. Why? Gentlemen, you are all with me, no? Okay. If it's boring, anytime you can leave, no problem. Don't worry about attendance. Don't worry about CP hours. Okay, what I was telling? Mule account. Mule account, what's a mule account? All of you must be knowing, right? Yes or no? Tell me yes or no, quick. Benami, exactly. Clear as well. Tamil Benami. Actually, this has been plaguing the industry for about 25-30 years. What was there in a small measure after the cross-border fund remittances, after enablement of AI, after putting all financial transactions in a computer, unidentified human beings, mule have become very easy now. So it is becoming tougher for the government. Mule account, shell companies, big data analysis, showing losses, escaping, restoring a trust, and again mule account. That is how the whole circle goes. Do you get the circle? That's how the circle goes. Most of your auditors, you must be knowing, At which point I had to break the vicious circle to enter? Which point? Mule account point la illa trust registration trust naka who is behind the trust? If it's a corporate naka who is behind the corporate? Like in Companies Act there is a phrase lifting the corporate wheel. Yamarka எப்பயோ படிச்சது Companies Act la correct? Do you remember that phrase? Lifting the corporate wheel. Because the corporate does not commit a fraud. Actually there are a lot of discussions. If AI commits a fraud, AI is an artificial person, isn't it? Just like company is an artificial person which can be sued, which can sue in the name of the company, as per the Companies Act, isn't it? As per the Companies Act, company is an artificial person with a perpetual seal, under life. Like, if AI is an artificial person, can AI commit a crime? If AI commits a crime, who can be sued? Against whom can I file a case? This topic came interesting in one of the Bangalore High Court about 2 months back. Judge very confused ஆயிட்டார். நம்ம தான் கன்ஃபியூஸ் ஆகும், வேறு வழி இல்லை. Actually, we have to go lift the corporate wheel and look at the person who wrote the program. There the program was written by Microsoft and a retailer had bought it. The retailer said, I don't know anything about it, I bought it from Microsoft. And Microsoft, very difficult to get those companies into Indian court. Because the moment they come, they'll come with the lawyers who demand 3 lakh, 4 lakh per day per hour of sitting. So judge will be afraid even to cross-examine those cases. I mean, there is Indian present days Indian judicial thing. Because we go by evidence, cross-examination and all that. சட்டம் தன் வேலையை செய்யும், வேலையை செய்கிறதே கிடையாது. அங்கே இருக்குது, ரொம்ப நிதானமாக செய்யும். The law takes a very long rope. Indian judiciary is such that actually a person who takes a high-end vehicle, when he hits a person on the road, kills him, after 20 years he can say that I never drove the vehicle or I did not have a license. I hope you understand whom I am referring to. Guess பண்ணிட்டீங்க இல்லை? ஒன்றா சொல்கிறேன், ஓப்பனா பேப்பரில் வந்து நியூஸ் தானே அது. நான் அந்த கேஸ் நான் அப்பயே ஆகலை, பேப்பரில் வந்து நியூஸ் தான். So 20 years cover, he can even say that I never drove the vehicle or I did not have a license, that vehicle was not in my name. Yeah, all defense he can take. Not now, even 20 years அப்புறம் கூட எடுக்கலாம் அந்த defense. After having spent around so many crores. The actor's father said, we spent crores in that case. Innocent சொல்லிட்டார் அவர், we have spent crores in it, which also came in the paper. So this is how mule, okay? AI at its penetration. In fact, this talk by Pichai was very interesting. He said AI will not replace human being, it replaces those who do not use AI. Indirectly, you learn AI and use it. அவ்வளோதான். நான் AI கற்றுக்கிட்டேன், இந்தியா அவுட்டிங் வந்து கற்றுக்கிட்டேன், நீங்களும் கற்றுங்க, யூஸ் பண்ணுங்கள், அவ்வளோதான். Actually, when computerization came, that was most of the industries, including TNEB, I think. TNEB, there was a very big strike. Computerization should not be there. நாங்கள் ஸ்ட்ரைக்கில் போவோம். பேங்க்கில் ஸ்ட்ரைக் இருந்தது. I think telephone department, there is a very big strike against computerization. Computerization is going to displace human being. But nothing happened. It only enhanced. Like AI also. AI is not going to displace human being. It is going to provide more opportunities for those what? For those who use, abuse and misuse. For including those who criminally use AI. Perhaps that is what we have been discussing now. Madam, another 10 minutes? Okay. என்ன அப்போ நாடிச்சு கேட்டு இப்போ விட்டுருங்கம்மாங்க அவங்க. This is an interesting speech by PM. இதில் one phrase was particularly for your interest. The last 2 lines பாருங்க. PM இந்த கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் பற்றி அவரோட பேசியிருக்காரு. About this conference. Internal audit leaders urged to build AI literacy and evaluate algorithmic risks proactively. AI enabled audit tools. Actually, previously, audit and it used to be pages and pages of just a tick இப்படி போடணும், அது கூட இப்படி போடக்கூடாது. ஆடிட்டர்ஸ் வே ஆஃப் டிக் தனியாக ஒன்று இருக்காது இல்லையா? தட்ஸ் ஹவ் வி டு இட். சார்ட்டர்ட் அக்கௌண்ட்ஸ் மஸ்ட் பி நோயிங் இட். So that is how audit was there. Pages and pages, voluminous printout and all that. And the print deliberately some 2-3 pages printout விட்டு போச்சு அப்படிமாங்க சில மேனேஜர்ஸ். I do not know whether you come across such instances. அந்த விட்டு போன 2 பேஜில் தான் என்ன இருக்கும், crucial some information could be there. In a flow of information, so vital information could be there. So we'll be wondering whether it is deliberately vittu pochi or by chance it has gone. Nobody would know. Now, everything being computerized, everything being maintained in an electronic records with an access given to you, electronically only you have to verify based on digital evidence and digital records. So, AI-enabled tools, that is what it says. Okay. So, these are the emerging digital frauds. This is another very interesting word which I noted some time back. Very recently, all of you would have noticed the word synthetic media. What is it, synthetic media? Do you want me to focus just about a minute or two on it? Very latest concept on AI, on audit, on crimes. Synthetic media. Nobody? Really? Actually, the intermediate... Already we had Information Technology Act, passed in 2000. Then Information Technology Amendment Act 2008. Then intermediary guidelines applicable to all the intermediaries. Intermediaries, I mean telecom providers, banking providers, mail providers, all service providers who act as intermediaries handling your data or providing an app. I mean, including Zomato, Swiggy and all that. All app providers. They are all intermediaries. They had to be regulated. A need was there to regulate these people also, intermediaries. So intermediary guidelines kept on amending 2020, 21 and again 23. In the latest amendment to intermediary guidelines, as a result of the powers given by IT Act, he speaks about synthetic media which focuses on AI. Synthetic media naka, something, audio, visual, created or altered, algorithmically appearing indistinguishable. Konja customer ka word. Appearing indistinguishable from a natural person. That is, you have a natural person, you create an image. This image, deliberately you are focusing. You are focus pantaru. So this image, deliberately, you are focusing as if he is the real image. Just like the picture I told you about 15 minutes back at the beginning of the class, I told you, I was creating a picture of myself giving a memento to Advani in Madras Marina Beach. I told you, interestingly, we can create that. That is a synthetic content. That is what it means. When there is a synthetic content used by the intermediary, you have to tell the audience that this is not a natural content, this is a synthetic content. Now, from a legal perspective, you tell me whether it is sensible or insensible, easy or difficult, practical or not. The intermediary has to tell that this website, this YouTube, contains synthetic content also. Is it practically possible? Sure, madam. Anybody? For the last benches, you don't seem to talk at all. Does it sound meaningful? Does it sound sensible? But is it necessary? I would say it is necessary. It may not be practical. Difficult. I am fully aware that it is extremely difficult. But that is necessary. Actually, most of the places, traffic la pathinganaka, helmet lama once ella poite irupanga. Police mobile pesittu irupparu. Police governing matter nammala. He must be attending to something else also. But the fear, the thing that there is a police there, at least 20% of the people will hesitate to cross that signal. Oh, there is a police there, so let us avoid it, let us go by the circuitous inside loan. So that single police may not be able to control about 50 to 60 vehicles passing per minute. At 5 seconds, one vehicle, somebody not wearing helmet, somebody not, wearing the helmet lock and all those kind of talking in the mobile, all those things. But as a first step, that is necessary. That is why, as a first step, the synthetic content regulation is necessary. Though government is fully aware that it may be extremely difficult to implement it. Difficult to implement, no doubt. So, when somebody creates a synthetic content, mixes it with the genuine content, so you should tell the audience that my website uses a synthetic content. Now tell me, in most of the WhatsApp, Insta and Telegram, those kind of apps, there is a feature that while talking, I can put my picture with a background, with a lot of black hair also, which I don't have anyway, or wearing a dark shirt or a white shirt, with a background color, giving color to my face, color to me, or making this gentleman look old, making me looking and all that. These are all features provided by the WhatsApp or Instagram. Irukilya? Are these synthetic content? Yes or no? These are synthetic content, but that's why the Act is very clever, very clever. It says an exception. Exemption for minor touch-ups automatically performed by a smartphone phone. You can say, it is not a synthetic content, I didn't do it deliberately, it is a minor touch-up I gave. It is a minor touch-up I gave, and automatically which comes as part of my smartphone requirement. That is why law has to evolve. Because typically, when a crime comes, in fact, this is an example I used to say in many circles. Once I was caught in a serious discussion with the police officer for having said this joke also. What happened typically in India, not in India mostly, generally in India. The criminal, he learns the technology first and fast. First and fast, isn't it? When a new thing comes, whether it's a pager or an SMS or something, whatever, he learns it. After that, the victim learns because he has lost the money or her photo has been misused. He learns it. After that, they go and make a complaint to the service provider, Airtel or Aircel or bank or whatever. Then he learns. After that, they go to the police. Now the police learns. Then we go to the advocate learns. At the end, the case goes to the judge. He learns. Maybe after 5 years, 6 years. By that time, the criminal would have changed what? He would have changed the technology. He would have gone for the latest in technology. That is why technology and cyber crimes keep evolving always. So, the minor touch-ups, what was being done by Photoshop about 10 years back, is being done automatically now. By all these AI-driven messages. As an auditor, do you have the capability to say whether it's a synthetic content or a natural content, whether I can believe this, or what happened in the case of Satyam Ramalinga Raju kind of thing. A synthetic content, normal printout. Although it was done by the Big Four our company. I mean, why should I name that company now? An ordinary printout was shown looking as a genuine printout of a fixed deposit receipt. Subsequently, he himself confessed that I only created those things. In today's circumstances, these would have been very easy. You don't need to go to a lot of PDF and all that. AI will do everything for you, isn't it? One interesting phrase is safe harbor. This phrase, safe harbor, what do you mean by safe harbor phrase? This is a very important phrase from a legal, the last para there. Safe harbor. And the phrase kelipattirukingilla? Safe harbor, it goes with due diligence. Due diligence, Due diligence. D-I-L-I-G-E. What is due diligence? Okay. What's the reasonable security practices? Okay. To make you understand these two concepts, think of this scenario. I have an email ID, rajendran@gmail.com. From this email ID, I am sending a mail to, say, a top dignitary, PM or president. What country management you are doing in the country, you think so many frauds are happening, nothing is going, you are not fit to be a ruler, something like that I am sending, which is a punishable offense. Okay. Now, suppose I am an employee of Wipro, some company, Wipro, TCS, whatever. That company has given me an email ID, rajendran@wipro.co.in, rajendran@tcs.com. From that email ID also, I am sending a same email to the same person, which is also an offense. Do you get the point? Does both the offenses compare with one another on the same legal footing? And which is, I am the accused one, or the second, is it different? Huh? Yedila? Company managing director. அவர் என்ன சர்வ் பண்ணுவார்? Okay. Second email, corporate email, when you are sending an obnoxious or offensive email, company managing director appear. Which managing director will own the responsibility? He will say there are about 20,000 employees, at least 10,000 are senior employees. All the 10,000 employees they have been given a corporate email ID. And from every corporate email, even assuming around 50, 100 mails per day goes, it may be around 1 lakh mail emanating from a mail server. Do you personally feel it's practical for a managing director to look at, read these mails who is receiving? That will be the difference taken by him. Now tell me, who is guilty? The manager or the person or the corporate thing or what? It's a very glaring scenario, gentlemen. These kind of cases, many times we have faced it. In the early days of IT Act, email evidence and all that. This is where due diligence, safe harbor, everything comes. Earlier in IT Act, section 43A was there. 43A. After the passing of DP Act, Digital Personal Data Protection Act, that 43A section of IT amendment has been removed. I mean, that has been replaced by a series of procedures as per this, as per the DP Act. That says body corporate, sensitive information, reasonable security practices and procedures. This fails in the reasonable security practices and procedures. The corporate EMD has to prove that I have put a reasonable security practices and procedures in my company. I have proper email server with a proper geotagging or an alert mechanism or a trigger mechanism to check any mail uses the word keyword search like a bomb or terrorism or prime minister, president, some of those things are there. All these things are already in place. If we can prove those things are already in place, the company is not guilty. If it is not there, for having failed to put the due diligence, the safe harbor failure. He can't enjoy the safe harbor clause there. That is why the law speaks about. Achha, this itself is a very big slide. I don't want to discuss that slide now. In fact, every word here is a technology which can be used for an offensive purpose. For example, scavenging, taking the data from a mobile, cryptography, everything, steganography, every word in fact. Cyber squatting. Cyber squatting also is a very interesting thing. I mean, registering a domain name in somebody else's name, knowing fully well that is not going, that is not yours. Knowing, actually, this happened in the case of Mark Zuckerberg also. Do you remember that case? Mark Zuckerberg. Who is Mark Zuckerberg? Say about 7 years ago, he was blessed with a girl child. Already he had a girl child, second or third girl child, I think. He said, I'm going to name the child Zulian or some such name. Immediately, a fourth-year engineering student in Kerala, he registered a domain name, zulianzuckerberg.com.org something. Because registering domain name hardly cost about 200-300 rupees. By spending 600 rupees, he registered 2 domain names. Then after 1 month only, Mark Zuckerberg realized that he should have a domain name in the name of his data. Then he sent his Bombay representative to Kerala. He spoke to those gentlemen. Then he said, you pay me $1,000. For having spent 500 rupees, he got $1,000, namely 70,000 rupees. Further, Kerala newspaper reported that, no, he's a very innocent guy. He should have demanded much more. He could have demanded even $10,000. Now tell me, is it an offense now? So every word here is not an offense by itself, but when used with a criminal intent, that becomes an offense. So is cryptography also. Cryptography can be used for offensive purposes as well, just like for secret purpose. Cryptocurrency was an interesting thing. Just one reference, is cryptocurrency legal in India or not? Just answer these 2-3 things, then I'll go ahead. Okay. Can somebody open a cryptocurrency account in India? But still cryptocurrency trade takes place in India. All of us know. All of you certainly know. Don't tell me you don't know. Cryptocurrency, a lot of exchanges, a lot of VIP, a lot of politicians, including many people in the judiciary, they have invested in cryptocurrencies. How do they do it when they cannot open a bank account? So how does cryptocurrency operate? Cryptocurrency basically is not a physical currency. You can never touch it. There is no paper form. There is no print form. It is only an online trading mechanism. The more value it gives, more volatile it is, it increases value, that's all. Not issued by any country, any RBI, so it is beyond the purview of RBI. So RBI issued a circular telling that banks should not deal with cryptocurrency after a ministerial committee said cryptocurrency is dangerous for the economy. But Internet Mobile Association of India, an NGO, they filed a case against the Supreme Court. One of the learned judges of Supreme Court, he said that this circular of RBI is disproportionate to the rights given to RBI. Since RBI has not issued a cryptocurrency, it cannot ban it, he said. That way Supreme Court was correct in interpreting it. You have not issued it. So how can you ban it? Something like that. So it said it is disproportionate. That is the word they used. I think I'm using that word somewhere here, I think. I don't know where it comes. So it is a disproportionate to the measure or word is subsequently, very interestingly, government RBI did not go on appeal. So even now, the circular banning cryptocurrency has been set aside by Supreme Court. So indirectly it means cryptocurrency trading can be done. But no bank will open an account because RBI discourages it. So people open account in the name of the cryptocurrency exchanges. As a financial company, you can open a cryptocurrency exchange. Your account will be in Indian rupees only there. The exchange members can do dealings in cryptocurrency. Let me not go deeper into all those things in telling you how to make money or how to lose money. In fact, I have done neither. I have neither made money. I am only an academician. I am only a analyst. Yeah. So ultimately, controls will be effective only when all the three are like this. And now we have that 1930. 1930 is a very effective step taken by the government. In the case of any cyber crime, you report. Zero trust, I have already told you about zero trust, isn't it? I don't need to focus that now. DPDP also I covered. Main stakeholders in Data Protection Act is the Data Protection Officer. There is a fantastic job opportunity in data protection officers in all the banks, in all the telecom service providers. Please remember, there is a fantastic job opportunity. Every significant data fiduciary should have one or a team of data protection officer as per the Act. Any youngsters interested in this field, ask them to apply. But the Act itself is been criticized like this. Somebody says it's too few, somebody says it's too hard, difficult to implement, typically like any other Act. These are the Indian legislations. NPCI is doing a very great job. I already told you about NPCI. Remember this always. When once you are in the internet, nothing is secret. There is no secrecy, privacy when once you enter internet. You are always being watched. Okay? This is the effective step taken by. So typically in a country like India, we say India is an IT superpower and all that. But we still depend upon what? The hardware given by the West, the cable given by Japan, the router switches given by China, the global chips given by Taiwan, and the data is ours. Like the old Raj Kapoor film song, those days, no? Mera Juta Hai Japani, Sir pe Lalu Topi Rosi, Fir bhi Dil Hai Hindustan. You remember that song? Came in 1950s and all that. Like the heart is from India, but the cap I wear, shoe I wear, everything is abroad. Like that. At least to put an end to it, we have our own RuPay card, NPCI. We have our own mobile manufacturing unit. Another few years, we'll hope that things will move forward. We'll have our own hard disk also. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
I think we had a very nice session talking about a lot of new areas of digital fraud and regulations behind it and the role of government, auditors, etc. Very widely covered. And since it's a generic topic, it is difficult to stick to one area also. So I think you did justice to the topic and also taken extra time to explain to the participants. Thank you, thank you. No issues at all, sir. Yeah. I request Ashish Jawar, sir, to please facilitate the speaker.